Well, Superheat 2 is about to get underway, and it's the Frenchman Romain Roussel that gets pole position for this one, alongside Harry Bartle. Then Fred Green and Harrison Mackie, David Cosma and Morgan Moore, Jensen Graham and Luke Agnew, then Aston Sharp and Raoul Thantharden, Henry Carter and Arthur de Donker, Daniel Delakian and Louis Camille, Sam Woolley and Tyrone Kinnard, Toby Gale and Sebastian Mins, from Nikita Nikishov and Martin Menezes, then Omar Cindy and Florentin Hetema, Truly Adams from the United States and the Norwegian Marius Barry Berg, Martin Marquez and Adam Holmes from Nicolas Karagiannis and Vasily Apostolidis, Elvis Chrysauskas and Maxime Blanchemin, then Juste Mulder, Thomas Gomez, Gabriele Teixeira, Emil Epi Makiyodo, and then Marlon Bayer and Bernardo Pinto. This is going to be a fascinating challenge now. Romain Roussel, for his own family independent team, going off the pole position. What a mission for him.
Yeah, certainly is, and he's fighting for his position to start on the front row for the final as well, with only those 13 intermediate classification points as well. If he takes the win, he won't be able to start on pole. He'll be 1 point behind Cathal Clark, but he will secure that outside line on that front row for the final, but he needs to win this one. So it's a lot of pressure on his shoulders, as well as they've just seen the previous race. They know it's going to be a challenge. Bartle, Harrison Mackie, Fred Green, David Cosma, Morgan Moore, who's won several races this weekend. There is Jamie Green on the sidelines there, watching. Very famous driver in the world of DTM racing as well across the board. Great to see him here, working well with his team and his family as well. Family team, really, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. Not bad for a lad who came out of the world of the stock car scene in the short ovals of Great Britain. It's going to be an interesting one as far as the tyre choices are concerned. 3 drivers have gone for new tyres on the left side. Henry Carter, Thomas Gomez and Vasily Apostolidis. And then we've got a handful of drivers that have gone for new tyres for this race alone in the full set. Dan Delakian, Tyrone Kinnard, Sebastian Mins, Toby Gale, Martin Menezes, Nikita Nikishov, Omar Cindy, Florentin Hetema, Marius Barry Berg, Truly Adams, Martin Marquez, Adam Holmes and Maxime Blanchemin. So everybody in that midfield section essentially going either half set or full set new, and that's to try and keep them in the mix. It's quite to be expected, really, under the circumstances when you've got so many drivers bidding for just 36 places on the grid. 72 will be whittled in half. Just double checking, Harry Bartle, that you've got Romain Roussel alongside you. Romain Roussel with that fabulous lightning bolt red helmet, and it's very distinctive. You can spot him from a mile away off the final turn, and now the home stretch. Is this going to be a good start? It is not.
False start, they're going around again.
False start. Formation lap is called a second time, and it's because we've got a kart in trouble at the back there.
That is Nikita.
Is that the 93? That's Nikishov, isn't it?
Yeah, Nikita Nikishov. Well, he's got it going again, so not sure what that was. Maybe it just oiled up a little bit too much at the back of the field there.
Yeah, the thing is, you've got that sort of lackluster momentum as you come off the final turn, and it's uphill. I don't think people really understand it until you actually get here, that final corner. It's an uphill climb to get back onto the main straight again, and if you're slightly sluggish, that's when the engine starts to splutter and kick in. So you get a real headache as you try to get the momentum back up. So for Nikita Nikishov, that's not the way to start, but fortunately he gets another shot at it.
He does, but he has got a long way to go to get back to his original starting spot of the mid-pack. He was supposed to start P19. He's only just caught the back of the pack. And yeah, he's only got to the red line, which actually comes up quite early on in between the straights of between turns 15 and 16, and they're approaching that now.
Well, fortunately, he is getting on with it, and he's kind of there or thereabouts. He's just got to hope that the field gives him enough space to get through. He's just about going to make it. Oh, goodness me, that's tight. And Nikita Nikishov should just get back into his original starting position, but talk about running the gauntlet. They've just gone past the red line now. And Nikita Nikishov is in position. It looks as though we've got a kart breaking down at the back of the field, though, potentially.
No, I think he's just slowing down for the field.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Oh, no, there is a kart stopping.
Yeah, there is.
There is a kart stopping.
It's one of the crop promotions.
Oh, there's 2 karts that have stopped.
No, it's the Cabo de Mondo kart that's come off, and the 36 it is. So that is a breakdown, unfortunately, for Martin Menezes. So he's broken down. There's a third one, and that's one of the victory lanes off the circuit as well.
Oh, there is.
So there's 3 in total.
The race starts.
The race does begin, so we'll focus on it in a moment. Roussel getting through in front of Harrison Mackie, who's managed to break through into second position. A great start for him as round the far side, trying to hold the line is the crop promotion of Harry Bartle. Can he hold second position? He's going to have to wrestle for it. He's going to have a bit of a job to get in front of Harrison Mackie again. And that's two more fusions that have gone with. That's going to be David Cosma and Jensen Graham. And that is the number 60 kicked into shape by Marius Barry Berg, the Norwegian, very unhappy, and he joins Martin Menezes and Florentin Hettemer on the sidelines. Maxime Blanchemin apparently in trouble. Oh, big issue. A big slide there from one of the, I think that's Ralph van Tharden.
It is.
He spun the kart and he got clipped into there. So a very unhappy victory lane driver. That is the 63, I do believe.
It's Florentin Hettemer, the 53, as well, that's broken down.
And yeah, Ralph van Tharden spinning the kart and then getting tagged in as he went through. So there could be a couple of drivers with some big mechanical issues. But the race continues on, and it's Romeo Roussel who has got the charge forward in front of Mackie, Cosma, Graham, Green, Bartle, Moore, Sharp, Agnew, and Arthur de Donker.
Yep, this is exactly what he needs. Well, so many drivers dropped down the field. Tyree Kennard had an issue as well. I think maybe that's what happened there with Ralph van Tharden.
Yeah,
he tangled with Tyree Kennard.
Well, that is Kennard having walked away, I do believe. So
no, that wasn't Kennard.
Oh, my apologies. So no, Kennard has come through.
Yeah, Kennard's still out there. He's just at the back of the field.
Yeah, he got caught in with Van Tharden. I'm amazed that both karts are able to keep going, to be fair. So big problems there. I think it was actually Martin Menezes we were looking at there.
Yeah.
And again, he took his helmet off a little bit too soon. You're meant to keep it on. So that's something that could end up being a bit of a headache in between the superheat and the final, whether he makes it there or not.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, he's already off the track, so I can imagine he probably doesn't even care about that. So, well, there you go. Race continues then, and several retirements from this race already in the early doors. Mackie clipping that inside curb through 15. You don't want to do that too many times. Look how much it unsettles the kart. There's a look then at the breakdowns on the left-hand side. We'll keep an eye on the race on the right-hand side as there's a change now for the lead. Down the inside goes Harrison Mackie despite that curb issue. He goes through, and David Cosma follows suit as well. And Romeo Roussel is down into 4th place now, battling for 5th.
Yeah, Harrison Mackie, David Cosma and Jensen Graham have all managed to get through past the Frenchman. Roussel is now in big trouble here from Green, Bartle, and Morgan Moore is in the mix there as well. This could be pretty difficult for him to sustain. Also in that mix there is Aston Sharp on the Mick Barrett racing kart. Looks like we've got more yellow flags to deal with. I think we've got another kart that needs to be moved out of its current position as we look at the replay there of a very frustrated Marius Barry Berg, who of course was fighting for this year's Academy Karting Trophy. So a big battle up front for the Fusion trio, and there's what happened with Kennard and Van Tharden.
Yeah, indeed, just a moment there. I didn't quite see what fully had happened, but yeah, that didn't go well at all. Florentin Hettemer just pushing his car into the pit lane there. Really, really harsh thing to try and do there, especially uphill. Well, here we go then. Romeo Roussel battling and defending 4th place. Meanwhile, 1, 2, 3, Fusion 1, 2, 3, Harrison Mackie, David Cosma and Jensen Graham, who lead the way in this one, and I suspect that they will probably stay somewhat the same all the way throughout this one. They will just push themselves along as they're actually losing touch with Jensen Graham there. Graham falling off the back, and well, Romeo Roussel and Morgan Moore will have the chance to try and close back in. With that, Romeo Roussel still sits on the front row for the final. He doesn't need to worry too much. He's still in a comfortable position. He's got some points in the bag. If he drops any more points, though, he will be in some hot water for that final. He might drop down to the 2nd row of the grid, which actually might benefit him. Starting 3rd is not a bad thing. You're on that inside line.
It's a very key position to be in. Harry Bartle and Aston Sharp having a terrific duel on that lap. I think they swapped positions a couple of times. So that'll be interesting to see how that finally shakes its way out. And as a result of that, Arthur de Donker has been able to catch up to them in the victory lane in 9th place ahead of Kermin Carter and Dan Dalakian on his Pantano. So it'll be an interesting one for the 3 Fusions, because once again, Jensen Graham has been able to eat up the road of the 2 karts in front of him on slipstream. Morgan Moore setting the fastest lap of the race up to 6th place. I am so impressed with Morgan Moore this year. He's had his moments over the course of the last 12 months. He obviously got a heat win last year in the IWF when we were at Le Mans. But this year, he's done it twice in Portimao, and he's looking like a favourite for me coming into the races. He knows how to have good racecraft. He's got good ability on the tyres, and the premium team have clearly got a decent package out of the blocks. So this could be a really strong run. All Morgan Moore needs to do is just continue as he is, settle into a good rhythm, pick his moments, and he'll get an opportunity. Oh, we've had an off somewhere. Skating off the road. A couple of drivers kicking up dust. in the background, and I'm not entirely sure what's happened to Moore. Where's he gone? Because he was up there in the top 6. He's now ninth. So he's lost a bit of ground to Bartel, Sharp and Dodonka.
He's still there. Yeah, he's just behind this pack now. As down the inside, here comes Fred Green, giving it a go, and he does go through. Bartel follows suit as well. So Russell dropping a couple more places now. We'll see what that does to the intermediate classifications. I think, again, he's still okay. Just needs to focus and just keep with this pack and just keep pushing along. And Green agrees. He's saying there with Bartel, right, let's work together, let's go.
Yeah, 6th is okay. That'll put him on 19. So it's not a big issue now. Van Tharen actually gets the warning flag for his own incident there. So clearly they felt that, well, he was in the instigator of his own demise. And it's very unfortunate for the Spanish driver, who now goes all the way down to 26th at this moment. But of course, with that warning flag will come a 5-second penalty added to his tally. Mackie, Cosma and Graham, full second clear now of Fred Green on the Jamie Green Racing machine. So looking pretty strong and focused. Look at Romeo Russell, really struggling to hold his own now in the middle of this foray, as he finds himself in 6th behind Green and Bartel. Here come the 3 fusions. Now, just keep going, guys. You've got 4 laps to go. You don't really need to start battling until the final lap. You can build up a decent advantage over Green and Bartel. Romeo Russell still P6 and still a danger man. But these 3 boys obviously have good chemistry. They work very well together. The Fusion Motorsport awning has a good atmosphere most of the time. But when you've got 3 very fired up individuals like Mackie, Cosma and Graham, and they all want the glory, well, how on earth do you settle it between them?
Exactly that. Well, Aston Sharp looking to the inside there, just in the background. One of the Mick Barrett Racing drivers there, just behind Fred Green. Still doing a good job there in P6. Many drivers in this top section right now still fighting away. Biggest mover out there, Elvis Krakauskis, the driver from Lithuania on the Milano Motorsport kart. He's up 16 places into P13. He's having a brilliant drive here. Yeah,
a really good run from Krakauskis, and I tell you what, he's been able to utilize his strategy to good effect and working his way forward. Has he gone on to new tyres? No, he has not. No. So Elvis Krakauskis. That's Daniel Delakian. So Delakian's had big damage in the rear exhaust.
Oh dear.
It's obviously dragging over the rear bumper now. So Dan Delakian out of this one in the Pantano. Very unfortunate indeed for the Armenian, who races under a Spanish license. So big disappointment for him, and that's game over as far as he's concerned. I think he's actually had a tangle with Toby Gale. So Toby Gale has come off the road as well, I think, in the crop promotions. The Thai driver no longer circulating either. So Delakian and Gale out of the race. That leaves only 30 left. Mackie, Cosma, Graham. There is the unfortunate Toby Gale, who's obviously taken the damage from that incident with Dan Delakian, and it's very much a short trip back to the pits then for Toby Gale, but he can reflect on what has been a tough week, but certainly an educational one.
Exactly, travelling all the way from Thailand as well for every race weekend he comes to. You can imagine that puts a lot of strain on a young driver as well, because I'd be very jet-lagged, and for Toby Gale, he certainly has had a good weekend, but unfortunately in this one, it's not ended very well for him. The race continues, though, as we go on to the penultimate lap of the race, and Mackie leads the way from David Cosma and Jensen Graham. There's no change between them, but crucially, they have not been able to break away from the rest of the field. It looks like Fred Green has closed in, same with Bartel, and the same with Sharp.
So here we go again. It's now looking like Cosma is getting racy. Here comes the move from Graham. Dives in on Cosma, gets through, and Fred Green is close enough to split them. So up to 3rd position comes Fred Green. Don't forget that Fred Green, one of the taller drivers in the junior battle, they're actually having to take off the decals on his car just to keep the weight down because of his height. And it's a very tricky situation for Green, but he's maximizing it here in the superheat. So Mackie in front of Graham, Green, Bartel, Cosma, Sharp. 1 to go.
Yeah, despite that fact, like you just said there, Jake, he's been so competitive this weekend that I think they managed to take, I took 6 kilos of weight off the cart to try and help him out, and I think he was still over the actual weight just with an empty tank of fuel. So yeah, he's always going to be over the full weight class on this one for Fred Green, but he's really pushing hard now on this final lap, and he's there in 3rd place, and he's latching onto these 2 here. But Mackie controlling it with Graham there in 2nd place. He looks all good here, but for your man, David Cosma, he has just dropped down the order now, hasn't he? And now Sharp comes through. Yeah,
good move from Sharp to get into 5th position. Bartel's going to be all over Green like a bad habit, but can Jensen Graham find that little bit of extra speed to break through on Harrison Mackie? Mackie looking pretty composed. He is, of course, engineered and spanned by his older brother Lewis, who has had plenty of experience of his own in Miami X30 over the years. And so Harrison Mackie just keeping it nice and fluid through the final couple of corners, doesn't need to overdrive the car out of the final turn. The checkered flag is his, and it's Harrison Mackie who gets the job done in front of Jensen Graham by 66 thousandths. Green in third from Bartel, Sharp and Cosma.
Yep, brilliant run there for Harrison Mackie. Then he will take 0 points there and confirm the 4th place starting position for the final, which means he's on the outside row on that one. Romeo Rossell dropping all the way down to 10th place, amazingly gets away with it by 1 point. He secures his front row start in that final alongside Cathal Clark.
What a lucky boy. Very impressive indeed. 23 points accumulated from the week compared to Sacha Van Pat Bosch on 24. But Van Pat Bosch must be grinning from ear to ear because he'll be starting 3rd position on the grid on the 2nd row on the inside line at Portimao with a chance of a great start. And the only person he might have to deal with in the opening couple of laps of the final is Cathal Clark. So it's definitely an advantage for the Dutchman. But Romeo Rossell still keeping himself in the hunt and still not pushing himself too hard. A very strong run, though, from Harrison Mackie. Let's give credit to the man who now finds himself 4th on the grid for the final. A very smooth run for Harrison Mackie in this one, and a beautiful performance from him. Mackie from Graham and Green, then Bartel and Sharp. A top 5 for the Brits. David Cosma in 6th in front of Arthur de Donker, Morgan Moore, Louis Camille and Romeo Rossell, who books his front row seat with the 10th position finish for the final. Henry Carter, Luke Agnew, Sam Woolley, Nikita Nikishov and Omar Cindy. And then in 16th place, it is the Spaniard, Raul Thantharden. How did he do that after his pirouette on the opening lap? Adam Holmes and Martin Marquez from Gabriele Teixeira and Thomas Gomez. Truly Adams ahead of Nicolas Karagianis. Sebastian Mins struggling in front of Emilipi Makiuro. And then Elvis Chrysauskas, after all that hard work, struggling back down to 25th. Basia Apostolidis, Bernardo Pinto, Marian Bayer, Justa Mulder and Tyrone Kennard. Then the retirements, Toby Gale and Dan Delakian. So that was even completed. We had lost Martin Menezes, Florentin Hattemer, Marius Barryberg,